Hello and good morning. How's everybody doing today? This is Rich Harshaw. We're here for our Tuesday morning ad clinic, and we've got two separate submittors today with a couple of submissions each. So we'll get right to it. Let's see, our first submittor is Dave Cerrone from Fitch Construction. Dave, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty darn good. We've got some radio commercials, and everybody knows how much I love radio, so this is going to be good, right? Tell me about these commercials. Have you been running them for a while? Give me a little bit of a history here.
Okay, so as you know, we're kind of struggling with our identity here in Rochester a little bit. And so these commercials, believe it or not, are just starting today. We were into I say we because we're also running a kitchen bath radio commercial and then also a window door skylight commercial. So there's actually 4 commercials that will interchange and run throughout the day on our local talk radio. So we feel this is the best way, kind of like a manager's special. This is the best way to let Rochesterians know what the different products and services that we offer.
Have you been on the radio before, or is this your first foray?
Well, I've actually been, personally, I've hosted this home repair clinic as a guest, and I've been on, and as well, anyone that's done the commercials, Matt and this other guy, Russ, we've all been on, as a, kind of like as an official or an expert on home repair clinic.
On the same station, right?
Yep, 1180.
Okay.
So that's about it.
Rochester. I just met some guys from Rochester last week.
Really?
They seem like nice guys. I'm sure everybody there is a nice guy.
Oh, well, we've got our characters up here. There's no doubt about that.
Okay, so here's what I think I just heard you say. I think the short answer is no, we really haven't been on this station before with commercials, even though we've done some other things, but this is really a new thing for us to run these type of commercials. Is that right?
Well, almost, Rich. People in Rochester know our Fitch jingle, and we have been advertising on the radio station for probably 3 or 4 years now. This is the first time we're actually using, like, I'm the owner, the voice of me, the voice of our kitchen bath guy, the voice of our window door skylight guy.
Okay. What has been on the commercials before?
Well, what's been on the commercials before has been is this guy Jim and John, who are the host of the home repair clinic, and they kind of have a following. We've done a 4-season sunroom on this one guy. He's a home inspector, Jim Salmon, and then we recently did a kitchen dinette remodel on John Carr's house, and so people know it's kind of they know that we're who Jim and John are, so that a lot of times they were doing our voice. Okay.
Let me ask you this. What are you trying to accomplish here? What's your strategy? What are you hoping happens here, short term, long term? What are you trying to do?
We need leads, and that's what we're trying to kind of give listeners, a voice that they know. Oh, that's the owner, or that's I know someone in the business now. I mean, that's we're trying to extend our personal voice to folks so that they know us.
Okay, now I'm going to ask you sort of a weird question here, and by the way, everybody else who's on the call, these are good questions to think through as you start a marketing campaign. So indulge these questions. So you said you need leads. To what extent do you need these commercials to generate leads for you? Stated differently, you need leads immediately, and if we don't get leads immediately from this, we're going to quit, or we can't afford it, or we're going to be upset, or we hope we generate some leads right now, but there's a longer-term effect that we're really going after, or tell me where you fit on that scale.
Well, it is I do view it personally. I'm the one writing the check for our marketing dollars. So we do see it as a long-term commitment. And we know that, you know, a lot of how people come to buy from us is because they've heard us and they trust us, and you know, we want to make sure that they continue to hear from us. And you know, if we can put a few calls to action in the advertisement, that's great. But you know, we just want to, you know, we want ultimately, I probably shouldn't answer the first question from you the way I did, but ultimately we want the leads, but we know that the buying cycle takes a while. You know, A to Z takes some time.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is just to get a feel for what you're trying to do. If you know, I have people that say, hey, I need this thing to generate leads for me right now. And if that's the case, then you've got to go heavy call to action, heavy scarcity, heavy special offer, because those are the things that are going to make people who are not necessarily ready to buy right this second, but they're kind of getting close and they're thinking about it and they can be pushed. Those are the kinds of things that'll get some, I don't really have a word for this, I'll make one up, premature buying. In other words, I'll buy even though I'm not all the way ready because it seems like a good offer. There's a certain number of people that are going to hear an ad on a given day, and because of their circumstances and their situation and their life, it's going to be a good fit for them to take action. And then there's the other 99% who don't fall into that category. There's probably somewhere between 1 to 5% that could be persuaded to take action if the offer was sufficiently good, simply because they're thinking about it and it's weighing on their mind, but it's not so urgent that they need to take action right this second. And then you've got the 95%. It doesn't matter what you say they're not calling you today because it's just not a good time. It's just not something that they're going to do. So those are people that we've got to be looking at with more of a forward-thinking eye. So let's review what I just said and make it a little more plain. So you got about 95% that are not going to respond today no matter what. You've got about 5%, roughly. It could be as low as 1%, Dave. It could be as high as 5%. But just go with me on the 5, okay? These are people that could possibly be persuaded to call with heavy calls to action, okay?
Okay.
And then you've got 1% that might call, and believe it or not, they actually might call no matter what you say in your ad because you just hit them right at the exact right time when they were thinking about it, and they say, hey, geez, yeah, I've heard this guy. I need a basement. Let me call him. You know, their basement has a problem, or they just got sick of it, or whatever the case is. You know, the accelerated discontentment, if you're familiar with that, they've had it with their situation. They're ready to move. So you really need to make a decision, which is, do you want to go hard and heavy after that 5%? Because if you do that, it really, to a certain extent, alienates the 95%. And if you want to go after the 95% that are going to buy from you later this year and next year and the year after that, then we don't want to go as heavy with the super heavy-duty call to action. Let me tell you what I recommend. Okay. My recommendation is that if you go on the radio, and this is really true for other advertising media as well, I recommend that you focus heavily on the 95%. And the reason is because they're the 95%. And I recommend that if you want to go after the 5%, you do it in bursts on an occasional basis throughout the year. If you go heavy duty after the 5% all the time, then you become, you know, J.C. Penney. We've got a sale today. We've got a sale today. We've got a sale today. And it loses some steam after a while. Now, J.C. Penney keeps running their sale, and you say, well, geez, it keeps working for them. Why wouldn't it work for me? Well, because the chance that somebody's going to need boots and underwear and a blender is a lot higher than the chance that somebody's going to need a sunroom. Okay? So that being said, let's focus on the 95%. I think you understand what I mean when I say heavy calls to action. We could go heavy after those people. Are you tracking with me?
I am, yes.
Yeah, so let's not write those ads right now. The principles behind those ads are offers, incentive offers. You could do you need to put scarcity in there. You need to put a lot of times multiple offers, what I call mega irresistible. Hey, and if you buy today, we'll not only give you a bona fide 15% off, we'll also give you a heating cool unit for your sunroom. We'll also give you a $500 gift card for the XYZ furniture store so you can put some furniture in there. We'll also give you a $500 gift card to the local flooring store so you can put your flooring in there. Whatever, you can customize those whatever you want. But this becomes a mega irresistible offer. And what happens is you start to get these 5% that might be willing to call you 2, 3, 4 months from now, they call you now. But I know from experience that if you run that ad all the time, it doesn't work. It quits working after about the third time. And then you lose the ability to use it later. So we want to use those occasionally. It's like kids. You can't take your kid to Chuck E. Cheese every day. You got to take them every once in a while. Okay? So now, that all being said, I think that's just good information in general. And Dave, when I speak to you on this call, I'm speaking to you, but I think you understand I'm also speaking to everybody else who's listening. So I may give a broader answer just for the benefit of everybody else. So let's talk about this 95%. So here's the question that I want you to answer now. What do you want this 95% to know? What do you want them to know? It's a really basic question, but it's a pretty interesting question. What do you want them to know?
I want them to, well, in the first ad under basement finishing, that they can add space that they need easily, and that you know, that they should really call us and get our free basement science book. That's what I want them to know.
Okay. Well, you actually answered two questions. I didn't ask the second one yet, but you preemptively answered it, which is, what do you want them to do? We'll get to that in a second. What do you want them to know? Let me suggest a couple of things that I would want people to know. Okay? I would want people to know, number one, things that I associated with my identity. And let me tell you why. Because I am cultivating my later in 2013 sales. I'm cultivating my 2014 sales. I'm cultivating my 2015 sales. So some of the things, we're going to listen to your ad in a minute. We've gone all this time. We haven't actually listened to your ad yet, but we're going to in a minute. I'd listened to them before the call. And I'm not a huge fan necessarily of, hey, we can finish your basement and make it into a great place for your family to spend time and hang out and do awesome things in. The reason I'm not a huge fan is because people, generally speaking, know that. They understand what a finished basement is, and they understand how great it is. And I'm not saying we don't want to mention it and that we can't ever say anything about it, but I'd rather get into, hey, when you finish your basement, here's what you need to be on the lookout for. Here's the things that we can do, and here's the things that that we do exceptionally well. Okay, so let's listen to your ads right now. I'm going to put the my microphone over by the speaker, and I'm going to play it, and let's just go from there. Okay, this is a sunroom commercial first. Are you ready?
Yep.
This is Dave with Fitch Construction. Four Seasons sunrooms are the best sunrooms on the market today. No other sunroom has the technology or expertise to create a living space that adds more comfort to your home. Four Seasons sunrooms really are comfortable and usable 365 days a year, and most customers qualify for 12 months, same as cash. Visit our website at fitchconstruction.com.
Construction design for your home.
Call 377-3330 and get your free essential guide to sunrooms.
Okay, I'm going to also play the basement one that is pretty similar. Here we go.
Hi, it's Dave with Fitch Construction, your total remodeling center. We are proud to offer the Total Basement Finishing Systems, the most worry-free basement system on the market today. In less than 10 days, we'll transform your drab basement into a stunning playroom, a dream office, a home theater for the whole family. Add the space you need. Call today. We'll send you our free basement finishing science book.
Construction design for your home.
Ask about our 12-month same as cash. Go from basement to beautiful. Call 377-3330.
This is going to start to replay there. Okay, so here's a couple things that I like to do in radio commercials. Number one, I like to stick to one thing, and I like to pound it, and I like to pound it, and I like to include secondary topics in another ad. So the idea is we look at the radio buy that you have, we look at the frequency, and we start to see, okay, what's the average number of times that your average listener is going to hear this during a week? And you could probably find that data for me. True enough?
Yes.
Okay, and I'm gonna recommend that you buy something that's got at least a 3 frequency, and you're in a pretty small town, so I'm gonna guess you can buy a 4 or 5 frequency for a pretty reasonable price. Is that probably true?
It is, yes.
Okay. Do you have an idea what your frequency is for, let's say, adults 35 to 64?
I really don't. And matter of fact, I'd have to look that up.
Okay, let's assume that it's pretty good. So here's what we're looking at. We've got people hearing our ads with a frequency of 4 or 5. They're hearing the ad 4 or 5 times a week. You're going to run this ad for X number of weeks, a long time. So here's what I'm looking at. I want to focus in on certain specific things, because when you start hitting lots of different points, by definition, you have way less time to cover each individual point. So then by definition, guess what you start to say and what kinds of phrases and words you start to use?
Latitudes?
Latitudes, that's right. Okay, the best sunroom. We've got the most technology. It's a worry-free solution. Add the space you need. None of these things are inherently wrong or bad or things that you don't want to be associated with. Obviously, these are all things that are good that you do want to be associated with, but they're really stated in a platitude kind of way. So let's look at focusing in on a couple of different things. Let's start with the basement one. One of the things that I think is interesting is the less than 10 days. Less than 10 days. The other thing that is interesting is the 12 months interest-free. Another thing that is interesting is I didn't catch exactly what it's called. I was just jotting notes as fast as I could. The science book. What did you call it?
Yeah, it's called the Basement Finishing Science Book.
Okay. And you also said worry-free in there. What does that mean?
Worry-free is actually an Anderson registered name, Anderson Windows Doors. But worry-free just meaning you don't have to worry about the problems that you may have when you go to have work done on your house or with the product. We're
okay.
We're completely fulfilling. We're buying it directly. We're installing it. We take care of everything.
Okay, good. So here's what I might recommend you do. We've got 4 different commercials that we could make out of this. And Dave, I don't know enough about the situation, and I don't want to pretend like, hey, this is the final answer. But I just want to give you a feel for the process here, okay? So let's take worry-free, and let's write a commercial strictly about the concept of worry-free. I'm going to back up on what I just said. It doesn't have to be strictly about worry-free, but we want it to be the overriding main point, okay? So maybe we come in and we say, do we want this to be a worry-free basement commercial, or do we want this to be a worry-free remodeling? Well, let's say remodeling. So we start to write a commercial that says something to the effect of, hey, if you're thinking about remodeling, one of the problems people have is it's stress-inducing. The cost comes in too high, it takes too long, dealing with contractors, coordinating things, guys don't show up, all these problems that could go wrong. Guess what's happening in the person's psyche while you're saying those things on the radio?
Yeah, I have that problem, or I've experienced that before.
Either I've experienced that, or even if I haven't personally experienced it, I can understand it. I've experienced that in a different situation that's fairly similar, that at least I'm a human and I can understand that. Hey, at Fitch Construction, we take every imaginable step to make sure that it's an absolutely worry-free, no problem, stress-free experience. So I got some power words. I'm saying the same thing with some different words, but I'm saying it strong. For instance, we do X, which means this, 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 and this. We also have I don't know what those things are. We have to find out what they are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But maybe 1 or 2 things that would suggest that, hey, that is worry-free. In fact, I give my cell phone number to every single one of my customers so they can contact me personally if there's ever any kind of a problem. But guess what? The phone never rings because my people handle everything right up front with our systems, blah, 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 whatever those things are. So if you're going to remodel, give us a call, Fitch Construction. I guarantee it's worry-free. Now, I have just planted a very strong message about worry-free. Now, does this mean that the only thing that you're ever going to talk about is worry-free? No. Let's talk about less than 10 days. Hey, you ever thought about getting a sunroom installed and thought, wow, it might be a big project, it's going to take forever, guy's going to come in. Well, you know what? We perfected what we call our 10-day turnaround sunroom. Believe it or not, from the time that we, start or talk to you or whatever, your parameters, I don't know what your parameters are, we'll get the entire thing done in just 10 days. Other guys, it might take up to 3 or 4 weeks. Who's got time for that kind of disruption to your life? We'll come in, we'll do this, 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 and we'll put the finishing touches on it. You'll be thrilled in just 10 days. So, yeah, it's a little inconvenient, but, man, don't call somebody else or you're talking, a month job. If you want it in 10 days, give us a call. It's Fitch Construction. Obviously, Dave, I just made that up. We could polish that up and make it much stronger. But you get the idea, right?
Yes.
Hey, you've been thinking about finishing your basement or, yeah, finishing your basement. I'm kind of toggling here. Sorry about that. Thinking about finishing your basement? Hey, let me tell you something. I've put together a book. It's called the Basement Finishing Science Book. And it's called the Science Book for a reason, because there is a science to building the sunroom, the basement exactly the right way. You've got to take into account the humidity, the this, the that, to make sure it's absolutely waterproof. It's not like any other remodeling job. I've put together a book. It's got ideas. It'll show you family rooms. It'll show you workout rooms. It'll show you ideas and give you inspiration for anything you can imagine. We can make it happen worry-free in less than 10 days. Call us. We'll send you the book. We'd love to give you that book. See, now they go, oh, there's some book that this guy has that sounds like it's got stuff that I'd be interested in. Then we write another commercial. One of the things I hear all the time when people think about finishing their basement, adding a sunroom, whatever, finishing their kitchen, is I'd love to do it, but you know what? It's just not a good time. I just can't afford it right now. Well, did you know that you can get a new kitchen, basement, whatever your commercial wants to be based on, for as little as $199 a month? Yeah, that's right. We've got programs that make it easy to afford. As little as $199 a month, you can get blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, don't put it off. Don't say you'll do it someday. That day's never going to come. If you're thinking about it, give us a call. Just call us on the phone. We'd be happy to talk to you about it. Look at your situation. Yeah, you've got to have decent credit. You have to have a job. You have to own your home. If you don't have those things, it might be tough. But for the majority of you that fit that, we can do this for you. And it's a lot more affordable than you think. The interest rates are very, very reasonable. Give us a call. We'd love to help you out with this. You see what I'm doing? I've taken 4 different concepts that I just mined out of your existing ad, and I've expanded them. So now, if you truly mean it, that this is a longer-term thing, and you're really, truly talking to the 95%, these are things that we're going to start to ingrain into their brain. We can put an offer at the end of each of the commercials. We could say something like, hey, and we've got a special offer right now, which is X, Y, and Z, and it's X% off, or a certain amount of dollars, or it's a certain upgrade. So we can put a little bit of a grab for those now-ish buyers. But the majority of the commercial is there. Here's the key thing. We want to start to have an ongoing dialogue with the customer, an ongoing dialogue. And we want to start to help them understand who we are, what our identity is. We want to start to price condition them. We want them to know that we're not the cheapest. All of these things we want them to understand, right? And we could do the exact same thing for some of your quality issues and some of the, other things that you do well. Let's take a look at this identity mock-up. Let me put this on the screen bigger. Are you a persnickety, demanding, hard-to-please person? Are you the kind of person that sends the dinner back to the waiter, to the kitchen 3 times if it's not exactly right? Well, you know what? I understand. I'm exactly the same way. This is Dave Cerrone from Fitch Construction. I'm here to tell you that you'll never meet anybody more persnickety, more demanding, more hard-to-please than I am. And you know what? When it comes to remodeling your house, basement, sunroom, kitchen, whatever, that's going to serve you well. I deal well, very well, with people who hate things that aren't exactly perfect. We only use the highest quality materials. We only use Craftsman Elite installation to ensure that you get a time-proof, worry-proof, regret-proof final product. If that sounds like the kind of person you are, give me a call. Hey, if you don't really care if almost is good enough, call somebody else. But if you want that, call me, Dave Cerrone. See that?
Yep.
Now we're talking boom, pow, identity, pow, pow, pow. Man, I love it.
It's pretty cool.
Hey, this is Dave Cerrone over at Fitch Construction. Let's face it, there's hundreds of remodeling contractors out there. Most of them do a pretty good job. Some of them not so much. But you know what? You only remodel your home, every 10, 15 years, something like that? Then why on earth would you settle for anything less than exactly what you want? I know I sure as heck wouldn't. That's why I love the customers that other remodelers hate. The fussy, persnickety, hard-to-please ones, because I understand what a big deal it is to you to get everything perfect. That means we slow down a little bit. We take our time. We make absolutely sure everything is done exactly right the first time, from the initial consultation to design and estimate to construction and completion. You'll see that we don't just say that we're a different kind of construction company. We really are a different kind of construction company. We're not the cheapest, we're not the fastest, but you know what? According to our customers, we're the best. That's a pretty good radio commercial right there, isn't it?
It is. It's a great commercial.
Yeah, I just read it right off of this thing on the screen.
I have a copy of that.
I just read it word for word. That's all I did. See, because this is called identity.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could do, you know, some of these, we could start to focus in on some of these other things, whether it's worry-free and so forth. So let's circle back around and wrap this up, okay? To be really, really honest with you, I don't really like your commercials that much. I think they sound very typical. I think they sound very expected. I think that they sound like something that any number of other construction companies, contractors could run, and nobody would pay much attention to any of them. Your name is out there. You've got a jingle. Personally, I don't really like your jingle, but if it's got some longevity in the marketplace, whatever, I can live with it. But I do like the fact that there is a jingle. So let's just keep going on that comment. Just keep it. It's not a big deal. But if you really want to stand out, here's the thing that I hope you notice about this. A couple principles. Number one, we're very specific. We hit very specific points on every commercial. Number two, there's a lot of power talk in there, right? Power talk. Power talk. And there's a high level of specificity, a very high level of specificity. So I don't just say something like, hey, we've got 12 months interest-free financing. You know how many times people have heard something like that?
Wow.
40 quadzillion times. I mean, just walk into Best Buy and there it is. Hey, well, you know, buy this TV for the big game and it's 12 months, no interest. But here's a different conversation. Hey, I know you've been thinking about remodeling your kitchen. You want to add a basement, whatever it is. You know what? Let's just be honest. These things are expensive. And a lot of you might be thinking, it's out of reach right now. It's just not a good time. Did you notice that I just said, I just paused. I didn't say you're broke. I didn't say you're poor. I didn't say you couldn't do it. I said it's not a good time. Because guess what most people are saying? This is not a good time. I'm not too poor. Nobody wants to admit I'm too poor to remodel my kitchen. They just say it's not a good time. It's not a good time. You know what? I understand. That's why I've partnered with some of the best companies in the country at getting exceptionally low rates to make kitchen remodeling, bathroom remodeling, whatever it is, remodeling really, really affordable. Let me give you an example. We did a kitchen last week, and we spec'd it out exactly how the customer wanted, and it was only $317 a month. Another basement that we installed during December, it was only $184 a month. Now, there's some higher-end projects that get into $300-400 a month, but you know what? The reality is we can work with your budget, we can work with your credit history, and we can get you something that's affordable. Don't put it off. If you want to do it and you got a home that you own, you've got a good steady income, you've got a job, give us a call. We can work with you on that. And guys go, yeah, I think I'll call. I hadn't really thought of it that way before. See, it's so much different than interest-free financing. So there you go. What do you think?
I like it. Now, and what are your thoughts? So what are your thoughts on the jingle? I mean, because that's kind of what links. I mean, it does have some longevity, but what do you don't like it?
I'm just going to be really blunt with you right now, okay? I think it sounds awful.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to a jingle at all. I mean, it's just such a weird sounding tone. Let's listen to it so we can make a comment. Let me see if I can cue that particular part. Like,
Hi, it's Dave with Fitch Construction, your basement finishing science book.
Fitch Construction Designs for your home.
Ask about our 12-month thing.
I mean, it sounds like Andy Gibb just fell off a cliff or something.
Okay.
Construction. I mean, why is it falsetto?
Well, it's like from a doo-wop theme, and actually that's the second run. I agree with you. It does sound like the guy is way too many octaves too low. The first one was actually Fitch Construction and Four Seasons Sunrooms, And that one sounds really nice, but this one it sounds like the guy's singing way too high.
Here's my preference for jingles. I really am not a fan of jingles per se. What I am a fan of is what I call a logo jingle. So this would be something that you tag at the end of your commercials that gives an audible link to your company. Some very famous examples are Intel, dun, 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 McDonald's, I'm loving it, StubHub. You familiar with the StubHub one? The guy goes, StubHub, and it's got a buzzer that sounds.
No.
You're not familiar?
No, but I know McDonald's and
yeah, so these are called logo jingles, and they just tag them on the end of the commercial as if it were a print piece with the logo. It becomes an audio logo is essentially what happens. And sometimes those can be strung out for as many as 2 to 4 seconds, maybe 3 seconds, which doesn't sound like it's very long, but it actually is very long on a commercial. And it gives people sort of an audio hook. Oh, okay, it's that company again. I think those are valuable. I'm not a huge fan of the, let's sing throughout the entire commercial. I think there is times and places where it can be valuable and it can work. But you know what? You've got too much to say. You've got too many good things. There's too much identity. There's too much positive, granular stuff that we need people to know. So I want to say it, and if we can, get a little logo or jingle going at the end, that's fine. Andy Gibb, not my first choice.
Okay.
Right. And there's a million companies that can produce those things for you. So, like I said earlier, if you've been running that for years and people know it, I'm not a big fan of Empire's commercial either, but it's been running so long and so many people know it, I wouldn't dream of changing it if I were them. You know the Empire one?
No, I don't.
300 Empire. It sounds like it was cut in the 1950s. Yeah, it's not great, but it's been running. It's not retro. It actually is that old.
Okay.
So anyway,
so you're saying, Rich, more focus on breaking that up. So more something on WorryProof, something on the science book or essential guide, something on the same as cash, and this, you might not.
No one's going to call you for that science book because nobody has any idea what it is.
Yeah.
You know what it is. And when you say calls for our, book of science, you understand exactly what that means. Nobody else has any foggy clue what that means. So what a great way to engage with people. Hey, we put together this book. Here's what it is. It's got this kind of information in it. It's awesome. The reason we call it a science book is this, this, and this. You know what? If you're even thinking about this, you got to get your hands on this thing.
Yeah.
Call us. Go on our website. Request it, man. It's right there. You go on there and just click. While you're on our website, check our references. Look at some projects we've done. Go to fitchconstruction.com or whatever your website is.
Okay.
So those are some things you might want to take into consider. I love radio. I think it's a fantastic medium for long-term client nurturing. But to really do it right, you've got to hit them with all these different points. We've got a client that's in the heating and air conditioning arena. They're a very large company. They do a lot of radio advertising, and I think we ended up with something like 60 or 70 commercials last year. We would write about 5 or 6 new ones a month, and we have a list of hot buttons that we would just roll through, and we would come up with different scenarios, different ways to say it, and just keep it interesting. You don't have to have 60 commercials. Don't take that out of that last comment. But I would definitely, if I were you, I would have a good dozen that I would rotate throughout the year on all these different points. Okay?
All right, thanks.
All right, good talking to you. We'll be in touch. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
All right. Wow, this call filled up since we started. Welcome, all of you who I didn't see who were on here. Okay, we're going to now go over to Chase. Hey, Chase, how you doing?
Hey, Rich.
Good to talk to you again. It's been a while.
You too. Been a little while, yeah.
Let me pull up your stuff here. And my cursor's keeps disappearing. Front rack card eyelashes JPEG.
That's it.
All right. Let's talk about it.
So a little while ago, you and I were talking about how to market this and really grow it. So we came up with the membership for eyelash extensions. So it's an annual agreement. It's $99 a month. It gets you the full set, gets you the unlimited fills, gets no lash limit. It's been received really well with the advertising that we've done. We've got we've only been doing it for a few months, and we've already got about 40 members or so. Our goal is 100 to 150 would be about our capacity, maybe a little bit more than that, depending. But so we're well on our way. What I'm kind of struggling with is kind of the direction of the design of our website, all of our collateral and everything. So I created this as a rack card to put at each station so that the hairstylists, it would be right there. So when they're doing their client, the client could pick it up, read it, learn about it. The back explains it a little bit more. But I showed this to my salon manager and my wife, and they don't feel like it reflects our company image. It looks kind of cheap, or it's too wordy, or it's too busy. Was kind of their comments, and I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on it, and maybe you can help me with the direction of the design. Kind of, I think it's important to keep everything that we do kind of consistent. And this looks similar to our website, but maybe everything's kind of off.
Well, let's do this. Let's pull up your website. What's your website?
It's Belleza-salon.com.
B-E or B-A?
B-E-L-L-E-Z-Z-A.
Salon?
It's -salon, -salon.
Yeah, you may want to change that.
Yeah.
How about impossible-to-spell.com? Okay, yeah. Most of the stuff you shown me in the past has had this purple look, right?
Right. It's kind of our thing. It's like a dark purple.
Okay, and then let's go back over to what you just showed me. Where is that thing? Where the heck did that thing go? Let me just open it again. I don't know what the problem is. My mouse is on strike. Okay. Well, so first of all, I think just an obvious comment is we want things to fit into the same family and look similar to one another. So it doesn't mean every single piece has to look exactly the same, but I think that we need a consistency there. I would tend to agree that I'm not a huge fan of this design.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of any design that has words and writing over the top of some sort of background image that has anything other than design or some sort of pattern on it. And even patterns I want to be really, really subdued. But anytime there's some sort of a photo or something back there that is something, to me it's just distracting. And then you compound that by putting this, what appears to be hair, on this $99, which appears not to be the hair of the girl in the background, so it's just some other random hair. So I really don't understand this. To me, I agree with your people. It's busy. It's weird. I mean, my best bet on this is I would just hand it to a designer. Obviously, you gave it to a designer, but I'd give it back to your designer and say, come up with something that's more clean and crisp, or I go to a different designer and say, give me something that's clean and crisp.
Okay. And you have a guy?
I mean, we've got design that we can do over here. I mean, there's lots of designers. This isn't, hey, we've got a designer that can make this clean and crisp. I think I would just go to it. If you want to use our guy, great. But I would go to a designer and say, look, we need things to be clean and crisp. My designer happens to be an expert at making things clean and crisp. And when I see clean and crisp, I don't like a lot of background nonsense, a lot of, stuff. Let me show you some postcards that we've done recently for a client that's in your same neck of the woods from a service standpoint. They're not in Austin, but they're a tanning company, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you'll get a feel for what I mean. So let me see if I can find this real quick. If my mouse will flipping cooperate, I will find it. Okay. This is a company called Fantasy Tan. Are you familiar with them?
Mm-hmm.
They are the manufacturer.
Right.
And let's see what we can come up with there. ID. Postcards. I'll find these in just a second. Give me a second.
Okay.
Okay. I'm about to open this. I don't know how up to date these are. These may not be the most recent version. All right, it's coming. Okay, now, before I show these to you, Chase, here's what I'm not saying. I'm not saying, hey, yours should look just like this. That's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
The point is, let's look at how clean it is, how easy it is to see what the message is. And these are postcards that would be sent out to salons like yours, I guess, to try to convince them to use Fantasy Tan. So we've got a very simple image of the bottles. The color on the bottles pops because it's unique colors, and it's just a really, really small amount that does a lot of talking, right? It draws the eye to that, and it makes somebody say, hey, that's kind of not what I would expect tanning solution bottle to look like. The message is very clear. Our tans look better because our solutions are formulated better. I don't think I could say it much more plainly than that. Subheadline, Fantasy Tan Solutions deliver the perfect natural tan every time. If we look on the back of this card, we've got the, what I would call sort of generic image. All spray tanning solutions are not created equal, not even close. We've got two subheadlines that are easy to pick out. We've got to do this next. That's pretty straightforward. So we got a lot of information on here, but we make it easy to navigate through. Look at the next one. So this is what the actual equipment looks like. Spray tanning equipment, quiet enough that you can talk to customers while tanning. And then on the back, I don't know if this is the final photo. We had a lot of discussion on which photo to use of which person plugging their ears. But anyway, other tanning equipment is a lot of the freight train or garbage disposal. Fantasy Tan is the same as a library or bird call. And it's the same general look and feel. Notice here, we do have a girl that has a very bright yellow sweater on. It has a burst of color, but it's not overwhelming to the piece. Keep going. There was a different girl. Okay. At the end of the day, the most important spray tanning question is how realistic does the tan look? This is more of a prototypical looking tanning model, but again, very simple, easy to pick it out. What are we trying to communicate? We flip this to the back. A vacuum cleaner based system just isn't going to get the job done. We've got a picture of a competitor's deal. Next postcard, again, same kind of thing. The graphic is very simple. The layout from piece to piece is consistent, so as people get these, they start to realize, okay, this is in the same family, etc. So again, the point here is not, hey, Chase, yours should look like this with a black background and a photo over here and a burst of color over here. But the principles are clean, crisp, simple. There's a lot of effort that has gone into these postcards that people don't notice, and that's good. We don't want them to notice it. They only notice it if we don't do it right. We put a lot of effort into making sure that, for instance, this headline is easy to read. We put a lot of time figuring out where to cut the lines. How thin should this secondary headline be relative to the first? We want to make sure that people read that first headline first. And in this postcard, look at it, it's very clear. You're going to read the black headline first. And then you're going to see this blue headline with a thinner font. It's a different color. It's harder to see. Not that you won't see it, but it's definitely going to get read second. So it's going to allow this postcard to flow the way we want it to flow. As you flip it over, Fantasy Tan Superior Equipment, Solutions and Training get you 85 tans per gallon instead of 50. The photos, again, are not overwhelming to the piece. You can see just the layout is very definitive to allow people to easily flow through the piece, pick out pieces of information that they want to read, ignore stuff that they don't want to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that works in terms of what we're talking about with yours, other than I would take that same type of approach.
Okay. Okay.
That's my preferred approach. Maybe you talk to another marketing guy who says, well, my approach is something different. But that I think
the only marketing guy I talk to.
It's going to be hard to argue with clean, crisp, simple, straightforward, easy to understand. I mean, who's going to argue with that?
Right.
No, let's clutter it up and make it difficult. Let's put hair on the 99.
Okay.
You know, we spent a lot of time on previous calls discussing the finer points of how to make this offer very easy to understand in a very short amount of time. You remember all that discussion?
Yep.
And that's what I want to pop. I don't really care if the design. I want the design to what's the word I'm looking for here?
Not get in the way of the message.
Well, I want it out of the way. I want it to complement the message.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, we've got design that's trying to be the message, and that's just really not what we want. I want people to see what the deal is, how it works, what's going on here. You know, this right here, now you can have a full set of the highest quality eyelash extensions for just $99. It's borderline impossible to read. And you're looking at that going, well, what do you mean? I can sit there and look at it. I can read it. But it's just lost in this black hole.
Okay.
Let's go back to, let's look at your other one. I haven't opened that one yet.
This is the back.
Let's take a look. Where'd that thing go? There it is. Man, I don't know why my cursor keeps disappearing. Okay, yeah, I mean, we got the same thing going here, except for almost worse. So I would be interested to look at some of your previous things that you've done. I mean, we've already worked through this. It's just a different format.
Yeah. No, the message is exactly the same. It's just we haven't actually put it on a rack card yet.
I would say that the message is not exactly the same. I mean, it's the same product, but it's not stated as concisely.
Mm-hmm.
I just pulled this up. This is something we did before. I like this better from a design standpoint. We've got the girl out of the way. She's complementing the thing, but not, you know, overwhelming it. Long, gorgeous, natural looking eyelash extensions.
This week you redid it. This was my original design, then you redid it.
We've redone it. So I don't have the redone one. I was just pulling up. I was just doing a quick email search with your name, and this is what came up. But you get the idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think you've also got some issues here with use of fonts, use of size. I mean, this unlimited fills, no lash limit. These, I was very abrupt and harsh almost with Dave on the last review, so I'm going to do the same here. It almost looks cartoonish.
Mm-hmm.
No lash limit. It's in all caps. It's big. It just seems not appropriate for the message you're trying to deliver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. And
I do. I see here this compared for yourself. I see exactly where that came from. That came off the postcard I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, we've got some spacing issues here, right? So we've got these big, huge headlines, and then we've got this stuff just crammed now into this little teeny space. So I think we could do better on the design of this by a long shot. So that's what I would recommend, is just let's get this redesigned. But you're probably going to want to rewrite these headlines a little bit too, so that it's more easily, quickly, readily understandable what it is that you're trying to sell here. Eyelash extensions.
Redo the headlines, you said?
Well, I don't want to say, hey, redo your headlines. I mean, we've been through this before, so I think we've already got some good headlines.
Yeah.
What are they? Do you have them handy?
Now you can get a full set of the highest quality eyelash extensions for just $99. Let me forward this to you real quick. send it to your Gmail.
That's my secret email address. Don't tell anybody. There's only every spam bot on the planet knows it. Let's see. Hasn't come through yet. You're just not going to get it to me, are you?
Did it show up? I sent it from my Gmail account, so it should be there.
Okay, here it is. Just wasn't patient enough. Okay, let's take a quick look at this.
So this was the redesign of that wall ad that we were doing.
Whoa. we got a lot going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just for everybody else's sake that's on this call, this is what we would call a good attempt, but we still got some issues. I'm going to pull up the original postcard that you're copying the design on, and we're going to compare them. Okay.
Okay.
There's Chase's. Let me put Chase's on the screen while I pull up the other one. Okay, so here we go. I've shown these a bunch of times on these calls before, but let's take a look at the front of it first. Again, is it crisp? Is it clean? Is there any clutter? There's no clutter going on here, okay? It's very obvious what we're trying to say. Now let's flip it over to the back because this is what you were copying. Okay, now let's do a comparison here if I can pull this off on my screen. Make this a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger. Okay, so here's what we've got going here. Let's take a look at some of the differences. We've got on the dentist one, we've got a very definitive headline area that is set apart from everything else, so it doesn't encroach on the other things. Then we've got this sub-headline that's quite a bit smaller, so it's obvious that that's the next thing that you're supposed to read. We're the only dentist who offers copay prices. We've got a little bit of text. Our compare for yourself pops because it's got a different color. Our frequently asked questions section, you know, it feels to me like the one in blue has a better flow to it. This one over here, when I look at the one on the left, everything on the page tries to jump at me at the same time. Do you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like maybe it's the white background or the white text on the dark background. I don't know, but it seems like everything starts to jump at me at the same time. I feel almost overwhelmed. Hey, what am I supposed to look at here? And the headline really gets pushed up and off and out of vision, and you start trying to figure out down here, what am I supposed to be focusing on?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we look at the other one, it's a little more straightforward. Don't waste thousands of dollars. That's up there. And I've got these sections that are very compartmentalized and easy to see. I've got the headline, I've got the left section, I've got the middle section, I've got the right section. I can quickly see that I got some frequent questions. Obviously, I don't want to read that first because I don't even know what you've said, so I don't have any questions yet. As I look over to the left, I can compare. Well, I don't really want to compare yet because I don't even know what it is yet to compare it against. So let me read this over here. We're the only dentist with copay prices. I can read this. Then I can come here and compare. Then I can read these frequently asked questions. And oh, by the way, there's some offers over there. It's going to flow better. Again, this is all design issues. It's not like, hey, this is a horrible piece you've got here. It's just design issues.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
take a look at your text lash to 77948. It's written in a font that competes with everything else. Unlimited fills, only $99. The lash limit, only 75 available. Look at the text on your frequently asked questions versus the dentist one. you've got it actually backwards. If you look at the dentist one, I can very quickly pick out there's a blue thing that is probably the question. I don't even have to, I'm sitting far enough away and it's small enough on my computer screen right now that I can't read anything on there. I can't even read the questions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I can see, okay, there's a question, then there's probably an answer. Then there's another question, probably an answer. With yours, your answers are actually more pronounced. They're actually brighter and jump off the page more than the questions do.
Mm-hmm.
You see that? Do you see the difference?
Mm-hmm.
These are kind of subtle, but they're important. Frequently asked questions get sort of blended in with the whole thing. Look at the spacing issues here. Frequently asked questions, and then the space between that and the first question, and then the space between that and the very bright jumping off the page answer, I don't have any visual sense of what's important here and what's not important here. I can't make visual sense of it. If you look go back over here, frequently asked questions jumps off that section. It's more pronounced than anything else by a long shot, and then I can quickly visually get, okay, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer. Yours is kind of like boom. I'm not suggesting that people can't see that there's frequently asked questions there. I'm not suggesting that people can't see, oh, there's a Q and then there's an A. I'm suggesting that there's some spacing, some color issues that make it look more
of a subconscious thing. It's just not pleasing to the eye. You're not really
pleasing to the eye. It's visually jumbled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Visually jumbled. So, you know, this could just use to use the terminology of your industry. It could use a makeover. And the whole idea of a makeover is it's not that the thing is ugly. It's just that it's not putting forward its best face.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Should I talk to Dale?
Yeah, Dale can help you out with that. I think that this could be redone a little bit. How big is this one that I put on the screen? How big
20,
is it?
It's 18 by 11, or it's not a postcard. It's like a wall sign.
Okay, I remember we talked about that.
I forget the exact dimension, but yeah, but I do need to make some postcards out of it, so I think that would be kind of what I need.
Always think in terms of flow and readability when you're writing something. Flow and readability. Readability. What do I want people to see first? What do I want people to see second? What do I want people to see third? What do I want people to see fourth? And then that's going to create a flow. And then I'm going to put those things in a logical order so that they see this first, they see this second, and it's going to build on itself.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go back over to the dentist, blow this up a little bit, and we look at the front of it, what's the first thing somebody's going to see? What's the first thing they're going to see?
I can't see. Where's the front? The no problem? Yeah.
There, it's on your screen now.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to pull that out of their mailbox, and a big, fat, yellow no problem is going to slap them in the face. And they don't even know what it is. And then immediately, what do they see next?
No dental insurance.
No dental insurance. Oh, no dental insurance, no problem. Okay. I wonder what that means. If I wanted to find out more information about that, where would I go to find it?
Right back.
Oh, no, right below, right?
No.
Introducing a Better Than Insurance dental program. Get a full exam with x-rays for just $25. Limit 2 adults and 4 children per family. And here's what I've got a person saying to themselves right now. See, they know what the deal is right now. They don't know all the details. They don't know exactly how it works. They've got questions, but I've given them the full idea of what they can get right here on this. If you don't have dental insurance, not only is it no problem, but I can tell by looking at the font and the size that it's really no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what does that mean? It's better than insurance. Wow, that sounds interesting because I don't have dental insurance. Full exam with x-rays for just $25. Crap, that seems cheap. Limit 2 adults, 4 children per family. Oh, okay. Well, this is something that's not just generally available to anybody. There's some limitations on it. I wonder what that's all about. Flip it over. Don't waste thousands of dollars on dental insurance premiums. Dental care is now more affordable without insurance. What? How does that? What? Oh, I got to know more about this. I wonder where I would find it. Frequently asked questions. Well, I don't know enough about it yet to read the questions. Compare for yourself. Well, I don't even know enough about it. I want to know more about it. Oh, guess what? Left column. We're the only dentist in Richardson who offers copay prices on routine exams. We really don't care why you don't have insurance. Your employer will pay for it. You've been laid off. It's too darn expensive. We want to help you out. Call us now. Schedule your exams. Compare for yourself. Traditional insurance, Better Than Insurance program. And then there's some questions. At the end of reading this postcard, they basically know the wholesale pitch. And I've led them logically through the discussion by the way I've positioned things on this postcard, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I've even then put these offers over here. Geez, if you want to get going, here's the offers. And oh, by the way, here's our phone number, here's our web address, here's our map. It's on you now, buddy. So, yeah, you got a great concept here. We do need to clean up this design, though.
Okay.
I'm very pleased to hear that you've got some traction with it, though. 40 a month. Get that up to 100, and you wake up on the first day of the month with $10,000 coming in.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that, baby.
No, not at all. Well, I appreciate your time, Rich.
Okay, it's my pleasure. It's always fun and interesting and enlightening to talk to you. Thanks, Chase.
Same here.
All right, talk to you later. I think that's it. So we'll go ahead and wrap her up, and you guys have a great day. We'll be back on Thursday. We're going to talk about hopper systems. So we'll talk to you then. See ya. Bye now.